Welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. Before we get started, just a quick note, this session is being recorded. If you're not comfortable with that, please feel free to disconnect now. Also, please note your lines are muted. As you have questions throughout this presentation, please put them in the chat. We will have a live Q&A session at the end of the session. My name is Phil King, and I'm Vice President of Strategy and Growth here at Tek Analytics. For those of you who may not be familiar with us, Tek Analytics is a business management and digital transformation consulting firm. We help companies navigate inevitable change through innovation, technology, and a relentless focus on business outcomes. Today, we're excited to share that we've been doing with SAP's Business Data Cloud, or BDC. We've been making a significant investment in this space, and we are already seeing real business benefits that can help take organizations to the next level. BDC is one of the most innovative and business-focused developments in the SAP ecosystem. Now, some of what you'll hear today may feel familiar to those of you who've been following SAP's messaging closely, and that is by design. We want to ensure our vision is aligned with SAP's, but we also add our own perspective based on real-world experience with our customers and data. So with that, I'd like to introduce Karthik Addula, who is our principal and chief architect here at Tek Analytics. Karthik will walk you through the technology behind BDC and, more importantly, the business value it can unlock. Let's dive in, Karthik.
Hello everyone, and thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Karthik Addula. I'm Principal Architect at Tek Analytics. So today, I'm excited to talk about SAP Business Data Cloud and its real impact on the SAP landscape. In this session, I really want to focus more on the practical side, the use cases, what Business Data Cloud can improve, and how it can enable for new innovations. We won't be diving deep into the technical nuts and bolts of the tool by itself. SAP is already putting tons of material and technical architecture web series like every week, and I don't really want to repeat the same thing. Instead, in this session, I would like to share my perspective, our perspective on how this tool fundamentally going to change the existing landscape and what are the new things you can do within the tool. So without delaying further, let's get started. Big impact. So before going into the agenda slide and go over what we'll be covering today, I want to take some time and explain about what is the impact of BDC in our current operations. So BDC are in our existing SAP world, most of you might know, like the complication doesn't really lies in the data size or connectivity to SAC. The complication is always losing business context or understanding the business context. So there are many tools now. You can integrate with SAP or take the data out of SAP LOBs, but stitching the data back with the business context is a complicated piece. BDC exactly tackles where you can still preserve all the business context data and you can perform analytical operations, planning, as well as additional AI by ML use cases. All these things can be done under one roof, meaning you don't really need to copy the data, don't really worry about losing the business context from the data. Everything can be done under one umbrella. Now, most of you working with HANA DB or SAP BW might be wondering, well, I can do the same thing now. We have these tools individually, and I can do all these things now on the SAP. But to be honest, yes, it is really possible. However, it's very complicated. For example, can we really trigger any kind of machine learning algorithms in HANA DB? Yeah, we can use EML, APL, or PAL packages, and we can do all the machine learning on top of HANA DB. But it's really complicated. It's the tool lacks the openness like how other applications are offering. So now, with BDC, with its native integration with the Databricks, as well as all the planning and Datasphere, PWPCE under one umbrella and one object store behind the scenes, data can be seamlessly integrated and shared. At the same time, BDC also comes up with completely SAP managed SAP ETL layers, which we call data products. We're going to do a deep dive in later part of the slides, and the advantage of data products and how it is different from the business content we can discuss more in the later slides. But all this data is being conveniently stored in the object store, meaning like, it's very efficient and very convenient, and with that object store we can easily consume them in other applications even outside of the BDC using APIs. So let's take a quick look on what we'll be covering today. So we'll be going over what is Business Data Cloud and its architecture and overview of the core components, and what are the top features, capabilities, and why Business Data Cloud fits into your organization or SAP ecosystem, and what are the current business challenges we have with the existing SAP tools and data and visualization tools, and with BDC how we can resolve them. At the same time, what will be the new innovative use cases we can deal conveniently with BDC, and finally, way forward for existing Datasphere customers as well as BW customers. This is what we heard from most of our customers, what can do. So I'll be discussing, or I'll be going over what is the path forward as per SAP. So what exactly is Business Data Cloud? In simple words, it's a fully managed cloud-based data analytical platform, including planning from SAP, and designed to bring all the SAP data together and govern it very effectively, share it very efficiently, and also enriched with metadata concepts. So think of it more like a powerful combination of SAC for analytics and planning, visualizations, Datasphere for all the business semantics and analytical use cases, BWPCE, along with natively integrated Databricks environment for advanced MI and AL ops or any scenarios. All of this under one roof, and it's essentially one product, and with unified licensing, and we can share the capacity across all these components. So we won't be going more deeper into licensing or cost today, but at the same time, what is really exciting in BDC is it offers pre-configured data products or pre-configured business entity sets. They call it data products, completely managed by SAP. They extract harmonized data on top of SAP LOBs, both cloud as well as customer managed as well as SAP managed, and these are called data products, and they come with heavily AI infused pre-delivered visualizations also, and we call it insight apps. So all these things are pre-delivered by SAP, managed by SAP. We can simply install them through BDC cockpit, and at the same time, the fundamental storage of the data still relies on the same object store, which can be easily shared across applications, including Databricks for any additional machine learning scenarios or AI scenarios. So let's dive a little bit deeper into the products and overall architecture. So as you can see in the architecture diagram, it all starts with the SAP LOB source systems, whether it will be SAP managed or customer managed or on-prem or cloud. It all starts there. The data stays there. In my experience with SAP, I always say the complication of SAP systems is not the size of data or data types or table sizes or table formats. It all lies in understanding the business context. For example, this is what I usually share with all my colleagues. Let's say you have the financial data in S4 HANA system. You can get everything out of AC doc A. All the data is there, but it is straightforward for any developer to simply say, what, I can pull the data out and stitch it somewhere else. But you can get the data out of AC doc A easily by all the connections. But if constructing a trial balance or P&L statement again back from the data is very complicated. I have seen many organizations struggle with this, and this is where usually BW or BW for HANA has traditionally helped with all the extractors, connections, and HANA SLTs, everything. With BDC, SAP is directly addressing this challenge, the new concept of data products. So these data products are fully managed by SAP, and they leverage the object storage under the of HANA Cloud, which is powering up the SAP BDC. So First, let me clarify how this SAP managed is different from business content. Again, this, in my opinion, business content is more like a starting template provided by SAP. So you can install the template or use the template as a quick launch, and then you can start making the changes as required by you. Whereas data product is fully managed by SAP. We don't even have access to the code base. It's completely managed by SAP, and all its life cycle, including updates and everything, is being managed by SAP. Since these data products natively use object storage, it opens up the possibility of data sharing with other applications without actually copying any data. This makes it more accessible to a wide variety of tools, and also for offers like economical storage. Like it's not going to replace any cold storage. Object storage will never replace the cold storage, but it's better than, like, having a native HANA storage. Now, data products, which is within the foundational source, like, from the LOB source systems, the data will be physically residing in the data products after harmonization. They strictly adhere to open resource discovery standards for all the metadata. This will give business users, not only business users, for any API, all the other teams who are consuming the API, a meaningful way to search the metadata and to understand what the table is, what are the components of the table, what are the fields the table has, and easily explain what kind of data the table is providing. So apart from this, so all these SAP managed data products is one side, like, managed by SAP on top of SAP LOBs. But how about the customers who have data in ZCDS views or any kind of third party data, or maybe within S4, like, Z tables or Z HANA views? Yes, this is where Datasphere comes into picture. I mean, on the application side, we have SAP BDC Cockpit, which really helps in managing the installation and updates of all these data products, including the insight apps and everything. Insight apps, security and governance, and everything about BDC Cockpit, no, the BDC application. So typically, when we set up the BDC, we can create something called formations, where you can include what are the tools we need, whether we need a Datasphere, Databricks, SAC, and whatever tools we'll keep it in the same formation. I'm not going deeper into the technical side of it. Now, once these tools are in place on top of these data products, we can use Datasphere for all the analytical scenarios as well as any business semantics. And at the same time, SAC is fully integrated here, meaning like SAC is a native visualization tool as well as planning tool within the BDC, comes up with BDC, so we can start visualizations and everything in SAC. And it has a very organic integration with Databricks, SAP Databricks. And with this Databricks, since the data, underlying data, still be staged or stored in the same object storage, we can consume in Databricks very seamlessly for all other machine learning. And so BDC is a natural evolution from current SAP data tools and SAP data fabric approach. So everything we saw in our previous architecture diagram, it's fundamentally available as individual products. Meaning, for example, Datasphere is already being available, and most of the customers are already using it. And of last December, I believe, even I personally haven't played around with it. Um, Even Object Store, HANA Object Store is supported via replication flows. Same thing with SAC. I mean, it's widely used analytical and planning tool, and even seamless planning for customers who are on cloud. I mean, tenants hosted on HANA cloud is always possible, meaning like we can store the data in Datasphere. The same time for BW, there's a ABAP system attached to Datasphere called BW Bridge, and that is also available. Same thing with Databricks. You can even connect now Databricks to Datasphere via ODBC or replication flows. So all these individual tools are available. However, what is really missing, in my opinion, is true openness and tighter integration of seamless connectivity. This is where BDC steps in, all under one roof, offering more tighter and much integrated, tighter integrated solution. Now, let's take a close look of what the data products are. So, data products are fundamental building blocks of BDC foundation services. So, like as I was mentioning in the previous slides, they are completely managed by SAP. At the same time, using Datasphere, you can even create, or we can even create our own custom data products. So you can find a good amount of very huge documentation and technical series on this topic from SAP directly. But in simple terms, based on my understanding, a data product is a complete, ready to use data set built on top of SAP line of business data. It comes with well-defined metadata, making it very easy for users to search, catalog it across all the applications. And data products are natively deployed in HANA Cloud Object Store, which makes them accessible via data sharing mechanism without the need of copying the data. Also, without losing the business context, all these things happen within the BDC environment. As I mentioned in my previous slide, data products utilize most scalable and cost-effective object store for data storage. In these data products, metadata is ORD compliant, meaning you can find more information about open research discovery standards online. It's this compliance make data products or any artifacts easily discoverable across the entire landscape, and they're metadata rich. And as I mentioned or highlighted in a big impact slide, one of the most compelling feature of Business Data Cloud is its openness and integration with other tools outside of the BDC also. So data products can be easily consumed via APIs, via data sharing, and eliminate the need of all the data duplication. And we no longer need to worry about losing the business context of the data and also governance of it, because everything can be managed within BDC cockpit, and we can even restrict which API can see, which user can see what kind of data. So let's talk a little bit more about how data products are structured. Again, in my opinion, strictly my opinion, it is somewhat similar to the LSA or layer scaled architecture concept, where you have primary data products, or you can say one-on-one replication from the LOBs tables or data. On top of it, you have derived data products, which are more like business facing, where you harmonize the data across multiple LOBs. So, I mean, in this slide, you can see a good example is combining the finance as well as HCM data, which on top of it, you can use these data products to again harmonize it with non-SAP data in the Datasphere also. But this is a good example of how the primary data products and derived data products are structured, and all this is SAP managed. So I don't think SAP grants any access for us. It happens, everything happens underneath. So it's all SAP managed, completely managed by SAP and delivered to us customers, and we can install it as a part of BDC cockpit. As you can see in this slide, a data product is an output of fully ETL'd and harmonized data across multiple SAP managed as well as customer managed SAP line of business systems. So we have two kinds of data products: SAP managed, completely SAP managed, as well as custom data products, meaning SAP managed has no maintenance and no overhead on the technical teams. And as I mentioned in my big impact slide, this is quite different from the business content. This is where it's fully managed by SAP. Now you might be wondering, we have custom managed data products, but SAP is not giving access to foundational services or SAP managed data products. So how can we further enhance it or create data products on top of custom tables? This is exactly where Datasphere comes into picture. Datasphere forms a central component or critical component within the BDC landscape. So it is its primary tool for analytical and harmonizing data from other non-SAP systems, as well as building the business semantics. So this will be the primary tool as outlined in the architecture. This will be the primary tool where we'll be constructing or we'll be defining custom data products. All the existing Datasphere functionality will stay as is as per SAP, and also we can even use direct consumptions without data products, direct consumptions like how we are using Datasphere now. We can use it for, we can leverage those connections too. You might be wondering, maybe is custom product data products and object storage new? No, it's not actually new. So even the current Datasphere versions, we can have replication flows putting the data into object storage of HANA Cloud. However, it lacks the openness what we are seeing now in the BDC environment. So it requires data copies if you want to push the data out to Databricks or somewhere else. Even though Fabric architecture can be utilized, it's not this much tightly integrated within that, no, within one tool. And also one other interesting part which I understood is, even though Datasphere forms a critical piece within that BDC landscape, it's not really mandatory. Meaning, like, no, we can still have BDC environment without Datasphere. So, for example, like, it's hardly, I don't see any customer having this kind of use cases. But let's say we have 100% of our data only in SAP line of businesses, and we don't really want to use any third-party harmonization or no third-party data for harmonizing the data. Then, and we are okay to completely use SAP data managed data products, which will satisfy 100% of our requirements. Then probably I feel like we can just have foundational services on top of which we can manually start creating SAP Analytics stories on top of data products. But still, we cannot utilize the insight apps, because insight apps, again, we'll go deeper into the topic, but that will utilize Datasphere based analytical models and all those things. So by default, if you want to install insight apps, we need to have Datasphere tenant, because that will be leveraging our Datasphere analytical model will be leveraging data products. And finally, insight apps will consume the data from these analytical models. Now, let's move on to SAP Analytics Cloud, specifically focusing on SAC planning scenarios. So this is this particular topic, I found it very interesting, as it really deals with this topic on a day-to-day basis. I believe BDC significantly enhances the value of planning within the SAC. So currently, many customers, most of our customers whom we work with, most of them are relying on SAP BPC for complicated planning scenarios, because BPC is an organic extension out of NetWeaver system. So BPC embedded, and you can use underlying HANA database or BW logics to write complicated script logics, and even data volume size is not that of a big deal, since everything is managed within that HANA database or HANA on-prem database. However, SAP's future direction is always SAC for planning, group reporting for consolidations, and also utilize data actions and multi-actions to build the planning scenarios in the SAC cloud. This scenario presents a very tricky challenge around data size, volume, and performance. I'll go into performance a little bit later, but how the data size and volume is impacting. So not always planning can be done aggregated level, because we have complicated scenarios where we need to go down to lowest level. And once you run the data actions or anything in the SAC, it consumes the HANA. We need to have a good amount of HANA memory, which is powering up the SAC cloud tenant. And obviously, for a complicated scenarios, we need a more power. So it puts us in a position to have private tenant or having a good amount of memory in order not to interfere with other customers in the public tenant. So it's always recommended to be on the private tenant for these scenarios. Now, how BDC helps here? Maybe even now there is a concept called seamless planning. So with Datasphere in the ecosystem, for customers who have SAC on top of HANA Cloud, whose tenants are on top of HANA Cloud, there's a concept of seamless planning, meaning all the data storage and everything can be done within the Datasphere. So when you create a model, essentially SAC planning becomes more like a wrapper around the Datasphere for UI. So all the data modeling and everything, and you have to create the models and everything in SAC, but the data will be stored in the Datasphere. Now, this unlocks a huge, this gives us an option to create more complicated scenarios, right from efficient data storage, and also use Datasphere's native DB functions to create the planning calculation and everything. The same concept with BDC got further enhanced, meaning you can now do planning on top of data products, meaning the data storage can be data product, which is object store. With its integration with Databricks, you can do more innovative planning scenarios using AI by ML. So let me put up an example. So right now you have data in SAC. Now let's assume we don't have a data sphere. Whenever we do the planning, actuals can go back, come back, come into SAC using the import connections. And once we are done with the planning, the data will be written back to BW or HANA systems for efficient storage, or for all the organization needs. Same thing with data sphere. With the seamless planning, we can still put the data back into Datasphere. That will resolve one piece of the puzzle. But if you want to apply more complicated machine learning algorithms, then no, we have to expose the data from Datasphere into elsewhere, like Databricks or some kind of machine learning tools, to get the data to create the planning scenarios. But with this more natural integration with Databricks, now all this can be done under one hood, meaning you can have a planning scenario created, or planning can be done in SAC, data will be stored in data products or custom data products or anything in the foundational services. The same data can be exposed to Databricks, where we can apply machine learning algorithms and create a simulated or no more AI generated planning, and the data will again be written back, or not written back in this case because it's always zero copy. So the data can be visualized within the SAC, or we can create more like actual versus planning, or planning versus simulation 1, simulation 2. We can do all these machine learning things very easily without need of going through a lot of data copies and waiting a lot of time. So that, in my opinion, is really like boosts a lot of thing on for the planning scenarios. And at the same time, again, I personally don't want to really derail this into the costing, but even from the licensing cost perspective, since the entire BDC is a shared capacity, this will really give organizations an option to optimize costs. Again, these are just my initial thoughts. We have to really dig deeper into the licensing model and everything to understand it. But my initial thoughts is like, okay, we can really optimize costs by having, rather than maintaining a separate tenants for Datasphere, SAC, and everything, all these things, we can have one single tenant. Now let's move on to Insight Apps. I really don't want to spend much time on this Insight Apps topic, but Insight Apps represent the very end of the data chain, meaning they are essentially visualizations, analytical applications, as well as heavily AI joule infused advanced insights combined into one storyboard. These are built on top of data products, and they're fully managed by SAP. So even though they are managed by SAP, at the same time, we as from the learning journey, what I understood is like, no, we can still make them a copy and customize them based on our own needs. And in my opinion, these are built using optimized stories and built with low code by no code principles. So now, what does this BDC mean for customers or BW customers who doesn't have any data sphere or not in their data sphere journey? So for BW use cases, BW4 HANA PCE or SAP BW PCE is the way to go. So previously, or rather before SAP BDC announcement, the strategic roadmap for BW customers is always move the content or BW content into BW Bridge, and then eventually roll into Datasphere. So without going into more technical details, BW Bridge is essentially an ABAP component or ABAP system managed by SAP, connected to our existing Datasphere tenant. In my experience, in my personal experience, BW Bridge has a lot of technical challenges and limitations. Even don't think BPC was supported at that time. Maybe it might have changed now. So it has many technical limitations. And for BW4 HANA, the path forward has always use model transfer into Datasphere. In being a BW person, I can easily say like it's not that easy to really lift and shift very simply. So we have a lot of logic which is currently being built in BW, and it takes a lot of time. So with BDC now, we have fully managed BW 7.5 as well as BW4 HANA PC instance, which are completely managed by SAP. Even it includes inbuilt data product generator, so we can convert the existing info providers and all the composite providers into data product. This will provide an immediate boost for BW based use cases, meaning we can start utilizing these data products with advanced tools. At the same time, it also gives relief for customers who wants to migrate data sphere at their own pace, like and even the licensing model and everything is very much simplified. So how this modernization happens? It typically follows threefold approach as per SAP: lift, shift, and innovate. So the first step is we can lift our existing on-prem BW systems into fully managed PC edition by SAP. So with this, the complete hardware maintenance and everything will be done by SAP, and we can simply start using the BW cloud. In my opinion, it might be a shell migration or similar to how we migrate between different instances, and then we can start shifting. In the second shifting process, we can use native data product generator tools to start creating data products, which will instantly create BW products, which can be leveraged or used across all the applications. And finally, in the innovation stage, where we completely migrate the BW use cases into data sphere based or data product based workflows, where we can leverage a lot of advanced ML use cases or lakehouse concepts and everything. Even with the lift stage itself, we can start consuming them into Databricks as a BW data product is consumable. But innovation is like finally we are in a futuristic, more cloud first approach. Now let's get into what are the benefits of BWPCE. So what is the benefit of this approach? Like, rather than going to Datasphere directly, why should we even go to BWPCE? So apart from gaining the mainstream support extension, this is fully managed by SAP, meaning we can eliminate the complete hardware maintenance, and it aligns with our BDC roadmap perfectly, or SAP's BDC roadmap perfectly. And at the same time, I have also learned code modifications are allowed, meaning we can continue to use our existing BW workflows as is, even though going to Datasphere or migrating to Datasphere is recommended. We can continue to use as is, which will give us some relief. And at the same time, in my opinion, again, strictly this is my opinion, I feel with this approach, we no longer need to pursue BW bridge concept. I tried to find some documentation around it, but I couldn't find. I will definitely share with you guys when I found something. But because essentially we really don't need any BW bridge now. Everything can be a part of BWPCE and BW data products, which can be shared across all the applications seamlessly. But our final step would be like migrating into data sphere based models or data product based workflows. Now let's get into Databricks. So Databricks, most of you might have heard or might be working already. It's a very powerful lakehouse platform, which is combination of both data lake and data warehousing design principles. So it is designed for very advanced data engineering and integration flows, as well as MI and AL use cases. So even though currently without BDC, Databricks has an integration with Datasphere via replication flows as well as ODBC connections. We can do it, but as I mentioned in my seamless planning slide, the integration isn't truly seamless and requires data copies very often. So even the virtualization is supported, but again, it comes with a performance cost. So with this organic integration within the BDC, the need of data is eliminated, data copy is eliminated thanks to delta sharing, because we don't really, it's a zero copy model. And with the object storage, we can now store the data in most cost effective manner and build more advanced AI and ML use cases in the Databricks. And just I know I'm saying object storage multiple times in this webinar, but please don't consider this as a replacement of a cold storage. It is still a economical way of storing the data in HANA, but it's nowhere a replacement of cold storage systems or vault systems. So this is the final slide. This slide illustrates how all these components within the BDC work together to form a very robust data analytical platform, including planning. So the data from the foundational services, all the data can be shared with the Datasphere, including custom data products. And from the Datasphere, from the SAC, the planning data can be written back into Datasphere. The same data, the planning data, can be shared via Datasphere to Databricks for all the advanced machine learning use cases. Once the machine learning or all the predictions happen, the same data will be shared back via Datasphere into SAC. So this way, it all happens in the same storage, so no need to really copy the data or really make a data copies. Everything is a zero copy share and everything is integrated within one single product. So now, trying to tie back to my opening slide of the impact, why do we really need BDC after all these components explanation? What is it really offering? So it is one-stop solution that unifies all your data, eliminate the need of replication for all any advanced use cases, and everything is a SaaS model under one umbrella. So it is also a clear path forward for BW modernization, like an existing BW on-prem solutions can be completely stood up in BDC as a BWPCE, while most of the things like machine learning on top of SAP data, all these things can be achieved individually right now. We always have a risk of losing the business context from the data, and at the same time it requires multiple tools, different teams, and finally, within my experience, I have seen like no, we finally lose the essence of the very data in the project. So BDC will exactly resolves tackles that issue, having everything under one roof. We can easily share the data, govern the data, and then achieve all these advanced use cases. So these are the current challenges which we are seeing in the existing SAP products or SAP ecosystem of products when connecting with other tools for advanced use cases. So, for example, like inconsistent access to LOB data. At the same time, you always have a risk of losing the business context when replicating the data needed for all these AI and ML new age technology innovations, and also openness, like lack of openness when connecting to other tools. So all these things can be handled in BDC very easily. At the same time, for better storage options, because natively supporting the object store, like leveraging the object store, it also resolves and helps in the better storage perspective. The next slide. Here are some of the new use cases with the BDC. Apart from the existing Datasphere, BW, and Databricks integration support, which we currently have Datasphere, these are some of the new things which we can do with BDC. Most of these things we spoke in our planning slide, Datasphere slide. So it supports like very cost-effective storage and huge boost for seamless planning, because you can do now actuals to your planning to your prediction. Everything can be done under one product, so you can complement a lot of machine learning and AI scenarios to your forecasting or budgeting, and you can instantly boost the planning data with these new cutting edge technologies. And for BW investments which are currently on prem, BWPC is a way to go, and that you can, once you are in the BWPC, we get the relief of mainstream support and we can start migrating to Datasphere at our own pace. And with the BWPCE, with the data product generator, we can instantly take advantage of this new integrations also. And finally, so here are some of the questions which our customers whom we provide services were asking ever since the BDC was launched, like what it really means for us who are currently on Datasphere or actively in the Datasphere migration projects, and what does it mean for BW who are currently out of Datasphere or who are on BW for HANA. So again, it's in our opinion, who are on Datasphere, it is a central piece for BDC, and but you are on right track. Like we can still continue with the Datasphere use cases, and with this, like with SAP clearly selling, there will be a place for in future there will be a place for transition, where I'm assuming and expecting all the Datasphere tenant which is currently holding all the uh, use cases can be easily shifted into BDC Datasphere tenant, or even the tenant can be directly added into the formation when we are doing the BDC. I have no clear idea, but definitely we are on track. Like we can start continuing using Datasphere. And for BWPC migration is the way to go. And if we are in the journey, or at least thinking about going into Datasphere in near future, the first step would be BWPCE. And for this would be like my opinion and recommendation. By going into BWPCE, apart from getting relief on the support as well as hardware maintenance, it instantly boosts with the BW data products. Using the data product generator, we can instantly create an openness with the BW data to all the Databricks, SAC, and everywhere, all the other applications. So with this, I would like to conclude my webinar and open up for a Q&A. Also, I would also like to let you know that we will continue these webinars with more technical details in future sessions. Once we have more information, we will continue to do on the how to's and parts within the data sphere in a very technical manner. Thank you.
Thank you, Karthik. Appreciate all those insights. I hope all of you enjoyed that and found some benefit to it. We do have a few questions here. First question is, if possible, can you show how does it look as an application? Currently, we're in the process of requisitioning our tenant from SAP. We don't have a live tenant yet. It's not readily available. But I will put a link in the chat that will take you to a product tour that will walk you through what it looks like, how it works, etc. Question 2, do you already have a BDC customer? I know that's not yet available. Yes, we do not have. This is a pre-webinar. We do understand that the product is still being rolled out. There are obviously customers who have it, but it's not widely available. But when we do, we will certainly be putting together proof of concepts, demos, and the like. Question for you, Karthik. Can BDC handle BW metadata, BW master data, text, and hierarchies like migrating and seamless integration with S/4HANA? Karthik? I think we're having some audio difficulties here. Bear with us, please. Thank you.
Hello. Hey, can you guys hear me now?
Yes. Thank you, Karthik.
Yes. So even now with the ABAP component, which I was saying BW Bridge, most of the BW functionality, I don't think when we rolled out for one of our customer, BPC was not available, but most of the BW features like ADSOs, hierarchies, everything was readily available in the BW Bridge. I'm thinking the PCE might handle the same thing because from what we heard, it's just a lift and shift of our on-prem BW for HANA into PCE component, which is managed within the BDC ecosystem or environment. So everything should be supported. All the existing BW flows should also be supported because they are open for code modifications, which by virtue it should be supported. Meaning we can continue operating the BW flows within the BDC environment, but at the same time, we should be marching towards Datasphere migration.
Great. Thanks, Karthik. Next one for you, Karthik. Do you have any case studies regarding complementing planning with the use of ML, etc., while using BDC?
Outside of BDC, I mean, right now the BDC is not generally available, but the case studies are yes, we can do a lot of forecasting, smoothing processes, even smart predictions, machine learning powered predictions. We have a couple of customers already doing it. But however, the current scenario is we plan in SAC, we write back the data into Datasphere or any other system, and from where natively we can use third-party tools or core machine learning tools like Spark or something else to get the data, to take the data and then create the scenarios. This requires a lot of movement, meaning from the data originates in SAC and goes all the way into our machine learning system application. It can be Python based or Java based, or it can be anything, and from there again it has to flow back. With BDC or even with the seamless planning as Datasphere, we really don't need to really write back any data. All the data fundamentally exists within the same underneath HANA Cloud in the object store, or it can be anywhere. So it can be easily shared across the platforms. So you can apply a lot of algorithms on top of data. For example, in SAC right now, we can do time series forecasting, like smart time series, smoothing, regression algorithms, everything, but they are not robust. To be honest and practical, they may not satisfy all the machine learning needs where no organizations are now. But with Databricks integration, we can easily do whatever machine learning we're happening on the planning data right now for product costing, or it can be product costing, it can be optimizing your budgeting, anything, like all those things can, even with the Databricks integration, can easily happen.
Thank you. Okay, another question. Is Datasphere available on premise? Actually, the whole BDC suite is cloud-based. SAP in general is moving towards a cloud infrastructure. So unfortunately, Datasphere is only available in the cloud. But that, and frankly, in my opinion, is a good thing because it reduces a lot of infrastructure costs, maintenance costs, security costs, etc. So another question for Karthik. If we need to bring non-SAP data, external data like POS, Nielsen, customer portals, etc., into Databricks and use SAC as well, can we skip the Datasphere path?
The custom data products right now, I think they can be done only with Datasphere, because without Datasphere, you'll completely lose the functionality of creating the custom data products. Only the foundational services along with SAP managed data products will be available, that too without Insight apps. So Datasphere is the core component in BDC for all these custom integrations. So we definitely need Datasphere.
Great. Thanks, Karthik. Okay, I think that concludes our session today. I appreciate everyone who joined us. We will be sending this recording out tomorrow. If you have any questions in the meantime, please feel free to reach out to me. I'll put my contact information in the chat. Again, thank you all for joining us today. Have a great rest of your week, and we look forward to seeing you on future webinars. Take care.